So in between all your entrepreneurial stints, so you had I think 2 outstanding stints, both in Make My Trip. I think you were a CTO there and you were part of the whole IPO story. And I think before that, you worked at Amazon for nearly 5 years, right? What are just some of the, looking back, those were, one was a very late stage company going public. Amazon also, I think the time you were there, they were probably in the doldrums. They were a storied company in 99, 2000, and they went to doldrums for almost a decade. So in fact, probably the years you were there, probably the most depressing time of Amazon. Again, I don't know if there's a correlation, but, just talk to me about, what were those 4 or 5 years like? Amazon is one of the most valuable companies in the world now. They've done a lot of pioneering work, and Jeff Bezos, in my opinion, is probably the greatest businessman of last 25 years, at least among the top 2-3. Right? So just let's talk about what was those few years like, and what did you learn there?
So the first thing at Amazon was the power of data. Well, everybody talks about data, but Amazon में वो दिखा कि रे अच्छा कि data के साथ आप ये चीज कर सकते हो, which impacts the business in this way, right? So one was the data. Second thing, Amazon was like, there are good and bad things about the Amazon culture, but the ownership model that Amazon gives is phenomenal, right? And when a Spider-Man, right, with power comes responsibility, so on and so forth, kind of, right? So the ownership that Amazon gives is and the kind of trust that Amazon puts on a person is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So just like a spot this thing, right? Andy Jassy was not the CEO, right? Andy was given the AWS charter, right? And typically what would you assume, right? That guy would be a stud engineer, right? Andy is not an engineer. Andy has an MBA from Harvard degree, but he is a fantastic thinker. And Jeff believed in him, and he gave him the biggest charter of building it. So typical thinking, Amazon Web Services है, इतना बड़ा टेक्नोलॉजी है, कोई बहुत ही खतरनाक PhD इसमें किया हुआ होगा जो कि ये बनाएगा. But the guy who had a very logical thinking, good business mind, was given the entire charter. And look, you can argue that a large part of Amazon value is driven by AWS than by Amazon.com, right? So data, giving the people ownership, and if they don't live up to the ownership, right, making sure then take the right action, right? तो वो किताब है ना, Good to Great, right? Jim Collins की, right? Get the right person on the bus and get the wrong person off the bus, right? Many of us are good at getting the right person inside the bus. निकालने में Amazon taught that part, right? Getting the wrong person off the bus is more, I won't say more, but is an important and a critical part of that part, right? So data, ownership, get the wrong people off the bus, kind of thing, right? And metrics-driven culture, right? So Amazon made for me, right, the first sort of meeting we have with Bezos, right? It was like the first metrics that you look at, what the typical thinking is, the first metrics that if a CEO is sitting down will be the business metrics. कि top line क्या है, ये क्या है? We will open up with the customer service deck, because he will say कि यार अगर customer complain कर रहा है, that points out to along this thing, right? So that was the first time I saw कि boss, you are starting with customer service का कि कितने calls आए, कितना का resolution क्या हुआ, what was the root cause, last time जितना आया था उसका root cause solve हुआ कि नहीं. You are spending the first 20 minutes of the meeting without even talking about the business, kind of thing, right? So customer centricity, like you read that in the books, but seeing that firsthand was fantastic.
So when people say, and I think Jeff Bezos always talked about making Amazon the world's most customer-centric company. You saw from inside that
you saw from inside, and then other thing, fantastic thing that we used to do at Amazon was you have to be hands-on. So one day, every quarter, once you are director plus, you have to spend one day at the call center, one day at the warehouse, and one day writing emails, kind of thing, right? And here's this classic, everybody has read that and on call at Amazon, kind of thing, right? This thing, right? So the story goes like Jeff was doing that call, and the call came from the customer, kind of thing, right? And given it's Jeff, there was a CS agent also next to it, right? So even so a call में आएगा कि Mukesh Bansal, the customer, is calling and he bought a table last week from you, right? Even before the customer could say, the guy said कि sir, इसका side broken होगा, right? And exactly that was the thing, right? And then Jeff asked him, how do you know, right? कि सर ये हमेशा ही आता है, इस टेबल के साथ यही इशू आता है, राइट? So the problem was not in the table, the problem was in the way we were packaging stuff, kind of, right? And then it came, the 5 whys happened, right? Why is the table broken, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually issue was not the table, because उसमें तो product fault नहीं, it was the way we were packaging the stuff, kind of thing. And then the entire unknown code, so on and so forth. So being grounded, like, so when Jeff says that, like, I want to make it the most customer, he walks the talk. So I don't see any of his meeting that started with the business metrics. It always started with the customer. And I can see the impact. Usko dhang se karenge. It like top line and bottom line is an eventual this thing, right?
I remember one very interesting, I think vaguely recalling now, Jeff Bezos and Ganesha story.
Oh,
Do you mind sharing that?
of course. Like, so this was like 2008-9 kind of thing, right? And this is before Amazon.in started up, kind of thing, right? So so Jeff, for a personal visit, he had come to India. He and his son wanted to see Taj Mahal, so on and so forth, kind of thing, right? And it was a very secretive meeting, like a visit kind of thing, because the Indian press certainly would like to interview Bezos, so we had to keep everything under the wrap. Literally last minute, like the custom officers knew that this guy is coming, so on and so forth, right? And then his son really, India में a typical outside India guy thinks कि हाथी तो ऐसे ही दिख जाएंगे, right? So his son really, he was 10 years old, right? He really wanted to see the elephant, right? So then we said कि चलो, I told him कि I'll take you to, so इधर Nagar Bhavi में, we'll say कि not Nagar Bhavi, Nagarhole, right? I'll take you and you see some elephants. I arranged some meetings there. So it was a good 2.5 hour drive. So Jeff is there, the driver is there. He had a personal security, his son. It was a long car and 2 other people.
Obviously, Bezos, तुम्हारे कार में Alto
में तो नहीं जाएगा, right? हाँ. And I didn't even offer him the Alto, no.
Yeah,
so 6-7 of us were going, right? And then if you know Bangalore, like the Mysore road, right? There is a Ganesha temple kind of thing, right? And the 3 Ganesha Panchmukhi temple, that thing, right? And then Lord Ganesha is also called as Ekdant kind of thing, right? So as soon as I crossed this one, this kid, like, who's 10-year-old, like white Caucasian kid, this says ki, oh, Ganesha kind of thing. And then I was surprised, good, and he knows a bit about India kind of thing, right? So, and then Jeff asked him kind of thing, right? That what did we tell about Ganesha? So yeah, Ganesha is the picture of perseverance kind of thing, right? And then I was like, what the heck is he talking about kind of thing, right? And then Jeff asked the pop quiz kind of thing, right? Ki why is Lord Ganesha called as Ekdant, right? Thankfully, because my father gave me Amar Chitra Katha, I knew that answer. But amongst the 4 Indians, sitting in over there, only I knew the answer. The remaining 3 did not. And most interestingly, one of them was from Maharashtra, which does the Ganesh Puja, this thing, right? And anybody who's listening, like, without going to the internet, you should try it out to see why is that called as Ekdanta. And I'll give you the answer kind of thing, right? So the deal is like and again,
so Bezos, he knew the story or his son knew the story?
No. So let me finish that story then, right? So just to give the context kind of thing, so Lord Ganesha is called as Ekdant. So Lord Ganesha had this, Ved Vyas is the one who's credited with writing Mahabharata, right? And with telling Mahabharata. He was reciting Mahabharata, and Lord Ganesha was the one who was writing it up, right? And the deal with Lord Ganesha and Ved Vyas was ki, if you stop writing, I'm going to stop telling you the story. That was the deal kind of thing, right? Lord Ganesha is writing kind of thing, right? And in between, the nib of the pen breaks, right? Now, since the deal is that he can't stop, right? Now, nib has broken, what can he do, right? So he takes off one of his teeth, and the rest of the Mahabharata is written with this thing, right? So the point is, like, so first of all, like, the remaining 3 didn't know the story. I knew it because my dad always gave me that Amar Chitra Katha, usme ye kahani thi, otherwise I would have never known. So I saved that embarrassment kind of thing. But the thing is, the guy is so well read. Like, he's teaching his son, right, a story from, and this is the story which I'm reasonably sure, this is my favorite pop quiz as many times kind of thing. I'm reasonably sure 95% of the Indians don't know, right? So he's teaching a story to his son about perseverance based on an Indian mythology kind of thing, right? So while you think about this customer service, so on and so forth kind of thing, right? But the power of story and communicating a point via that story I think Jeff is one of the best guy in that one, right? Picking up a story and telling you, hey, perseverance ka hi hai, right?
Incredible. I think that's an outstanding story. I confess, I didn't know the story. At least I didn't know first time you told me this. Since then I've known. But I think the Indian mythology is a huge source of very, very powerful story and very relevant lessons. And hopefully, I think in this podcast sometime we'll get time to delve deeper into that.